Hi there everybody, it's Rarity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. Using something new today. This stamp set is called Feathered Fun. So we've got some lovely bird images in this set. Really cute, and the stamps are designed to be reversible, so you can use them to colour in the image or use them in different ways. Okay, so that's what that is. There's no coordinating dies with this though, so it's a fussy cut out if you want them in want some dimension to them, but they are nice and easy shapes to cut. So that's Feathered Fun. The sentiment, no sentiments in this set of course, so you'll need some sentiments. So Tags of Thanks is the one that I'm going to use today, mainly because I wanted something that was going to be in a straight line that I could fit underneath my images. So I'm using the Appreciate You, okay, and we're using Stylish Shapes. So Stylish Shapes is a great set. It's carried over a few times now, but you've got a great set of circles, squares, and then these banners as well. So we're using this one for our sentiment. The I think it's this one. Yep, this one. Second to largest in the background, and we've got the largest square that we're going to use to cut out the background. So we're using one of each of those today to create this lovely lovely card. Well, I think it's lovely. I hope you think it's lovely. Okay, so I've coloured my birds to look like budgerigars. So I had budgerigars in the family when I was growing up. So we had our lovely yellow and green, and then we also had one that was more blue. So in the example that we're going to make now, I'm going to do one that's a little bit more blue. Okay, but they come in all sorts of colours. Actually, if you actually look on the your favourite search engine, you can find lots of colour inspiration, but of course these can be made into anything. They're sort of parrot-like birds, so lots and lots of colours that you could use there. Okay, so this is what we're aiming for. I'm going to stick with my basic beige as a nice neutral background. Okay, and then the square that we're going to cut out is actually the two-tone cardstock, which is a little thinner. Okay, but you can have it either with the dark shade or you can use the light shade. Okay, so let's mix it up. Let's use the light shade. So I'm going to cut it using the side that we want, because obviously we're going to be having that stitch detail. So you're going to want to cut it on the side that you actually want to use. So we'll run that through the machine just quick while we before we start anything else. Just wanted to show you that as a bit of a contrast. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so that's going to have, it's probably more discernible. I suppose you can tell. Yeah, it's just a little brighter than the background cardstock. Okay, the camera light can make it look a little different. Okay, I've already gone ahead and cut the circle, which we'll add some ink to when we're ready to. Okay, and then we've just got this little teeny tiny strip that we're going to use for the sentiments, which I'm just going to do in black ink. Okay, I've just got this scrap of cardstock that we can use for this. Just getting that really nice and well inked on our Memento ink pad, and just get that central on there. Then we can use that other Stylish Shape to cut that out. Use this little banner. It's just wide enough to fit this die on. We'll just secure that at that end, and we can just run that through as well. nice and quick. That's going to cut out this lovely banner that I've got for the sentiment. Okay, just wide enough, and it's all got that matching stitched detail. Okay, so while we've got our Memento ink out, I'm going to use this offcut of some basic white cardstock, and we're going to be colouring with our Stampin' Blends markers. So I'm using my water-based Memento ink to stamp the image, and it just about fits on this scrap, so you know, just use your scraps. Just firm pressure, hold that down, that stamp, so the ink transfers. Do the same with our other one. Just want enough room to cut around it. Okay, there we go. All right, so really nice crisp images. Pop that out of the way. Like I say, I'm going to use slightly different colourway to colour these guys. These guys we're going to do mostly blue with a little bit of yellow over their heads. So I'm actually bringing Azure Afternoon. It's really nice bright blue, and if, like I say, if you look at the images, you'll see that that's what they look like. A lot of them have a yellow head though, not always. Looking at blue and white ones. So I'm using light lemon lolly just to put down a sort of a foundation, and then I'm going to use the darker one just to brighten that up a little bit around the eyes stuff. Okay, I'm going to just zoom in a little on that. Okay, and that'll just sort of fade out into some of the bits. We could put a little bit in the belly and stuff like that, but I'm going to stick with the blue for that. So we're going to pop in some of the darker colour sort of at the bottom of the belly, and kind of, I like to flick the colour up and into their wings. A bit further around on that bit. Okay, and then into the tail feathers. Then I'm going to bring in the light marker and flick in some of that too. Using the flicking motion helps it sort of blend together. Take that right up into there. So we are going to get a little bit of green where those colours are going to merge. Now you can let it dry a little bit and then put in a little bit more of the darker colour. Where you need it, to get some of that shading. Okay, so I might just let that dry a little bit while we do the other one. Again, I'm just going to start with the dark one. So this one's obviously got its back to us, so you've got a little bit more guidance from where those wings start and finish. Okay, I'll use the, might put down into that actually, a bit better. Flick it down into this. these two shades are quite close together. So it may look quite similar on the screen, but as you build up that colour, you'll start to see those colours blend in and get that shading as they dry back. It's very therapeutic. And you can just layer up that colour little by little. Okay, gonna pop in a bit more on this one. Okay, and then we could always pop in a little bit more. Oops, wrong end. Of the yellow if we needed to. You'll get a little bit of green. Okay, you could even use the colourless blender to lift some of that and help it blend a little bit if you wanted to as well. That just might help it just sort of lighten up that shade just a little bit. So that it fades in a little bit. Takes a little bit of time just for that colour to lift a little bit, but it will if you need it to. Okay, totally optional, but you can do that if you want. So once that dries a bit, that'll I'll do a little bit here. You'll be able to see that. I don't know whether you can see that on the top one. Actually, the top one's probably the best one to show you. Okay, so that colour started to fade out. Okay. Right, and then the beaks, then I'm just using, which one is this? This is Light Pecan Pie, which I'm using for the beaks. So we'll do that. Okay, and girls and boys, you can tell them apart by the little thing above their nose. So we have a blue bit for a boy, and we'll just drop in a darker brown. What's this? This is one of the shades. It's the SU200 colour. It's one of the skin tone sort of shades. And girls have a brown little bit across there. Okay, so that's the colouring done. So you can see how that colourless lifters added a bit of texture and faded out that colour just a little bit. You can see it here. You can see it on this guy as well, how that's lifted through. Okay, so that's how we've coloured those. Let's zoom you back out a little bit. I'm going to use our snips now just to cut that out. These aren't difficult images to cut. Just take your time, rotate your paper rather than your scissors. Just do it nice and gently and slowly. These aren't bad ones to practice on, actually. I think I'd spoken in a video recently, just, you know, use some simple shapes just to practice the technique. If it's something that's new to you or you feel like you could do with more practice at, these ones are quite good to do. Okay, nice smooth lines, no jaggedy stuff to worry about. I say, just save your wrists by twirling the cardstock. Oops, your hand gets in the way. and I go quiet when I'm concentrating. So there we go. It doesn't take a minute to get those cut out, because they're mostly nice, smooth, round shapes. Where did I put that? There we go. So we'll pop those away. We need some dimensionals, so let's grab those, which I've buried underneath all sorts of things. So just a couple, don't need loads on there, just to oops, get those done. So let's have a look at how it's looking now, because what I want to do is pop a little bit of shading onto that circle. Okay, and I'm not sure what colour I want to do. I don't know whether I will just do the blue actually, rather than anything else, just that it looks like they've got sort of some sky behind them. So I might just stick with the blue. So all I did was just used whatever was left on a brush, really. I might go with the darker blue though, just for something different. So it's barely got any ink on it at all, so I'm just going to go with whatever's there. This is a darker blue, so but I'm only going to do this half of the circle basically, and then you won't get it all over your fingers either. So not sure which colour that is. It might even be Secret Sky, because I think I last used that on one of my monochrome designs that I was working on. Okay, so just half the circle, and this one's going to go up on dimensionals as well. With a circle, I do like to use 3, like a stool. You know, little, gives it stability. Okay, so that's all our elements done. This is going to stick flat. So we'll just pop that, just make sure you get your left and right nice and even, and then you can sort of decide how far up or down the card you want it. Okay, this is going to go underneath. I'm just going to pop that in about, what's that, about 1/4 of an inch, like so. And then we'll have our circle, and again just setting that within that sort of stitched border that we've got there. You could sort of put stamp one of the branches or something, or even wrap some twine so that it looks like they're perched on a wire. I didn't think to do that before, so. And then we can have these guys on here, so they're just sitting low on the circle, so their tails come down like so, giving that connection to the rest of the elements on the card. Okay, isn't that cute? Okay, and I use the antique pearls to embellish. So while they're not basic beige per se, I think they look quite nice with this. And they come in 3 sizes, which means I can do my usual trio that I like to do. Big one and a little one. And then medium one off there. And that's, I think that's finished that off. Okay, aren't they lovely? Aren't they lovely? They're 2 different types of bird there. You can mix and match them, of course, as well. You can have a whole line of them all in different colours. Might do that actually, that would be cute. Do it landscape and do a whole little line of them. Okay, so that's finished that off. That's Feathered Fun. Okay, all the products I've used today will be linked in the description below. Hope you've enjoyed it. Do stay safe, take care, and I'll see you at the next video. Bye bye.